What's up, everybody? How's everybody doing this evening? Oh, we got a what I call this is the pre-Black Monday show. This is the last week of the season. We got a lot of we got a lot of playoff berths on the line. We might have possible jobs on the line, and as you guys see by the title today, um, if you know who that gentleman is in the picture and that brown shirt. That is Mike McDaniel, and we will talk about that and a couple other little things. We at the end of the season, uh, going into the playoffs. We got games tomorrow night and Sunday, so strap in because this is gonna be a ride for this NFL season. We got a lot of games that could potentially get people fired. I'm just gonna call it what it is. So, how's everybody doing this evening? I was running a couple minutes behind because I was sleeping. I was getting some rest. Just adjusting here to going into this new year. Try to get a couple things done today. Like I said, work in progress. I don't really make too many resolutions. Um, just trying to line everything up more so than anything. So it can go between the new year and beyond. I don't like to make all those hasty resolutions, but the goal is to do things different. Uh, with the Dino show, you guys are going to see a lot of things that are going to be different going into 2026. The off season, we gonna be working. We gonna be doing shows. I'm guessing it's probably not going to be every day, but it'll probably be at least 3 to 4 times a week. Everything else will probably be videos, stuff like that. So we're still, trying to formulate everything because the show really did start late. It started late into the season, so we'll be working a lot of interviews, all of that stuff in. So we got some things going on. We got some things going on. We get some movement, and stay tuned to all of that. I hope everybody's had a wonderful holiday Christmas, went into the new year. Hope everybody was safe and sound and, got their priorities together for 2026. That's what I'm working on, trying to get all the priorities straight. Uh, it's a difficult journey still going into that new year. Like I said, I don't really do the resolutions more so, but it is like clearing the slate. And that's what you want to do. You want to try to come in to the new year clearing your slate, uh, you know, kind of looking back at your 2025 or your previous year, and you want to see where you was at. What could you have done better? What you accomplished. The good things too. If there's some good things in there, make sure you pat yourself on the back because this journey is real. Uh, what I'm learning is, real life is real life. What they say, life be life. Yeah, it's serious, man. It's a lot of things that I'm trying to understand in life. I think a lot of us in this world are trying to understand. New things come on your plate every day, and whether you choose to eat it or not, it's there. So you're learning how to adapt with all of these things and go forward in life, and that's serious business. So I commend anybody who's trying to step up to that challenge, trying to figure things out. You know, uh, be the best they can be. You know, uh, trying to be great. You know what I mean? So, like I said, salute to anybody who's on that same journey, trying to figure it out. I salute you guys for real. So, uh, you know, with no further ado, we're going to get into the show. I was excited about this show. I was going to come on yesterday, but I said, everybody's probably chilling. So I said I'll come on. Uh, Caught all the little bowl game stuff later. Like, I didn't even know all the bowl games and stuff came on so early. So I caught all uh, the condensed plays of it. And, of course, Ohio State got ousted a couple days ago. And then Ole Miss. Ole Miss. Now, I was wondering about Ole Miss. I thought Ole Miss was, you know, like the players are still there, of course, but I thought without Lane Kiffin's presence, they wasn't going to play the same. Man, they play big boy football, and that quarterback. What's that quarterback's name again? I gotta look it up. That quarterback was he was wheeling and dealing. Let me see his quarterback's name. Can't think his name right now. Trinidad Chambliss. That's his name. My man was willing and dealing, man. He was trying to put on his Fred Tarkenton. I was just like, oh no, no, don't do that. Don't do that. Oh man, what a play. Like my man was he was on the move, man. He played a game, and of course we got to see Indiana and Alabama. Alabama just got thoroughly stumped out. I didn't add this into the show, but it's a quick thing. How long is Kurt Cinetti gonna be in Indiana? What this man is doing is amazing. What he's doing is amazing. I mean, he has the Indiana Hoosiers. We all know Indiana is known for basketball. That's the Isaiah Thomas, Isaiah Lord Thomas. The Jamal Crawford. That's basketball. Think of whatever else greats that went to Indiana. Indiana was never known for football. Uh, Antoine Randall. They'll come out of Indiana, which was you know that was cool. But they were never known for football. He came in last year. He was popular too. He was talking tough and everything, and Indiana was pretty much running the table. They won the best team last year, but they showed up. And I like the quarterback that came out last year, Curtis O'Rourke. Ain't that his name? No, it's O'Rourke. Last year, he has tangibles. He does. That guy can play. And I think if he get his shot in the NFL, he's gonna be on the field. So y'all hearing me say this first? O'Rourke. I think it's Curtis O'Rourke. And I think he went like the fifth or sixth round. I don't know where he. I can't remember where he went. Let me go look at that too. Let's see here. Let's see. O'Rourke. I think it's Curtis O'Rourke. Oh, he got drafted by the Niners. Curtis Rourke, not O'Rourke. Is Rourke. Okay, okay, okay. See? And Shanahan know how to get the best out of them quarterbacks. So, Mac Jones is going to go somewhere else next year, and I'm thinking he's going to be the backup. I'm telling you, the dude got talent, and a lot of it had to do with Kurt Signetti. That guy can field a program. He's like the Urban Myers, the Nick Sabans, where he came from the bottom programs, the D2 programs, the smaller programs. And every program he's been at, he's won at. And I just think that's amazing. I just wonder. I know he just signed a deal with Indiana, but I wonder is he going to stay in college football, or is what NFL team is going to come and drop a bag on him to get him out of college? Because I think he is a leader of men, and I think he'll translate perfectly to the NFL. I don't think it'll be a problem, to be honest. I think he would do well as an NFL head coach. But we'll see what they do. I mean, at this point, I want to see him go ahead and get into the dance, the big dance, to that championship game and see what they do. Because if he pulls off winning the championship with the Indiana Hoosiers and a Big Ten where he's getting outpaced and outspent by millions of dollars by the Ohio States, the Oregons, Michigans, and all those other schools, and he comes out on top and get one championship, man, he good as gold. They might as well build him a statue in Indiana. They might as well build him a statue because he's doing something that we would have never saw done, especially in the NIL era. I think the big thing with them is I think Mark Cuban went to Indiana. So maybe, he's starting to put money into the NIL collectives or whatever the case may be. But, other than that, I don't know anybody who's like, they getting bankrolled a lot over there in Indiana. I think he's just fielded a pretty good team and put this team together based on his merit, not really the wallet. And for him to come out of the Big Ten, where the Big Ten now is looked at as just as deep as the SEC, and if he can come out of this on the other side, and you probably going to get a Fernando Mendoza to go number one. Yeah, I don't know how long he's going to last in Indiana. I don't know. I know it's not all topic because it's football. And this is our show. This is what we do. We go anything football. We go talk about. But like I said, for him to be able to pull that off, that is amazing. That is amazing. So, salute to Kurt Nitty and the Indiana program. These games have been entertaining outside of Indiana blowing the doors off of Alabama. And Alabama just looked like they were just outclassed, outmatched. Kalen DeBeer ain't get fired, but I'm gonna tell you this: that almost was a fireable offense to not have his team ready for a playoff game. So let's see what this is. Okay, to not have them ready for a playoff game is crazy, and I mean they got boat race. So we'll see what happens, but let's get into the topic of the day. Well, part of the topic of the day. We got to talk about Mike McDaniel and a possible connection to the Cleveland Browns. I thought when I put this thumbnail up, I was going to have to actually change the thumbnail, change the title of the show for today. I thought maybe this would have went past, but this thing is growing legs. So if you guys don't know, that this is probably Kevin Stefanski's swan song Sunday against the Bengals. It's pretty much a done deal. Trying to get everything up here. It's pretty much a done deal. Unless Jimmy Hassel, wakes up Monday morning and he says, I changed my mind. Kevin Stefanski is a goner. It's pretty much a wrap up. Supposedly, they have been looking for coaches for a while now. They've been in that process probably for the last, what I heard was about a month and a half. So, we could follow the whole trail, and I can tell you where it was going bad. If you guys looked at, I looked at a couple of the videos I did. In one of the video thumbnails, it says enemies, and it's got the cover of with Andrew Berry and Kevin Stefanski on it. And if you know, these guys, when they came in together, these guys were tied at the hip together. They were tied at the hip together. Everything that these guys did was a collective. They were like buddy buddy. They both Ivy League grads, the whole nine. So you wouldn't see one without the other. But if I take you through the timeline, we all seen that shot of Kevin Stefanski and Andrew Berry when they was in that draft room. And they looked like they had to play nice because they was on camera when they had drafted Shador. And, it almost looked like they was ready to come to blows in there quietly, at least in their mind. They was not feeling each other. And Jimmy Haslem, you can see him behind the scenes. He's just like, yay, yay. Because if you guys paying attention at that time, Jimmy Haslem had spoke, and Jimmy was like, no, we good where we at. We got our quarterback, which was Dylan Gabriel in the third round, which was crazy in itself. But they said they had got their quarterback that Friday night. And then, Saturday, Shador was on the board and they went and got him. And you can tell ever since then, these guys have not been on the same page at all. And now it's turned into Squid Games in Cleveland. Andrew Berry was able to put together a really, really, really good draft. Carson Schlesinger, Quinshon Junkins, my guy Harold Fannin, who I was big on. Mason Graham has done pretty good. So he hit on a lot of draft picks. But before then, he didn't do well. And as far as drafting and trading goes, speaking on Andrew Berry. And now you have the situation with Kevin Stefanski. It sounded like Kevin was a fan of Dylan Gabriel. And Andrew wanted Shador. So, I guess they like split the baby. Okay, you get this quarterback. I want this quarterback. And that's where all the friction kind of started, right? So this was the first time, win or lose, believe it or not, that this Browns organization was not on the same page. So fast forward into the season, training camps and all that, and everybody was talking about how they had 4 quarterbacks, all these quarterbacks. Well, you traded for Kenny Pickett. Then you brought in old man Joe Flacco. Then you got these 2 young guys, Shador and Dylan Gabriel, which Shador was supposed to be like have a red shirt year for his first year, right? Then you still had Deshaun Watson looming behind in the background. So they had 5 quarterbacks on the roster. Didn't make sense when the season, when they started to go into training camp with these 5 quarterbacks. So that was an issue, right? So you have to imagine from Kevin Stefanski's standpoint, like, how are we going to get all these guys reps? I think more likely they wanted Kenny Pickett to be the guy. They wanted to be able to stash Shador or whatever else at that time. They didn't want Dylan Gabriel playing either. They really wanted it to be Kenny Pickett. And Kenny Pickett got hurt, and the goal was for them to say, hey, get Kenny Pickett, Joe Flacco. This is how I'm thinking. I think this is sort of what I kind of heard. We trade one of those guys at trade one of those guys in the preseason to a team that might need a quarterback. We could flip them. And of course they end up trading Kenny Pickett because he was injured the whole training camp. Joe Flacco, okay? They're going to ride with Joe Flacco, whatever the case may be. They ride with Joe Flacco till they trade Joe Flacco in the middle of the night. Well, Andrew Berry makes that move, and he trades Joe Flacco, of course, we know, to the Bengals. But Kevin Stefanski Was not happy with that. Let me see if I can pull up that clip of when Kevin Stefanski was frustrated about Joe Flacco being traded. Let me see if I can find that. So I'm just what I'm doing right now. I'm just walking you guys through the timeline. Outside of the Browns got a bad record. Well, we get that. We get that. Let's see. Trying to see if I can find a quick clip of it. Okay, here we go. Here we go. Let's see here. Let me pull this on the screen for you guys. Putting me small right there. Let's do this real quick.
Type of things. I always have to be mindful of our players and our players' development, and I want to make sure that I'm always doing what's best for our players and of course our team. But with young players, I'm always thinking about last week making the change to Dylan. You have to think long and hard about that because these are young players that you're so invested in their development. So I'll let the week play out and make a decision later on that.
What might be the drawback to doing something like that?
Yeah, I trust in all of our players. I trust in their ability and those type of things. I just always want to set our guys up for success. Bottom line.
So, like Monday afternoon, you didn't plan on trading Joe Flacco?
No.
Why did it happen then? Why didn't you trade him?
Well, obviously AB makes those decisions. I trust AB. We talk about every decision we make. They wanted Joe. They made the phone call. Obviously, it gives Joe an opportunity to go play again. But I trust in our decisions.
Explain to the fans all the training camp reps devoted to Flacco and Pickett. Why wasn't it a waste of time, as it turns out? It's October and neither is here.
Well, there's a lot of unknowns in football and in sports. You can't always predict injuries. You can't predict trades, those type of things. So that's sports.
Listen, imagine being put in a position like that. And listen, like I said, as far as a head coach goes, I'm not like Kevin Stefanski's okay. I don't think he's a leader of men, but he's okay. But imagine being put in a position like that because he is the ultimate company man. The Browns are the equivalent of Barnum and Bailey circus behind the scenes. Now they do a lot to cover up a lot of things now. They don't want to look stupid out in the public. But you heard all those questions that they were putting out from the reporters. It sound like Grossi and a couple other people back there. That's I don't know who else, but one of them sound like Grossi for sure. And you heard one of the reporters ask him, "Well, all these other quarterbacks, your Kenny Pickett's, your Joe Flacco's, they got all the reps during the off-season workouts and the training camps, and neither quarterback is there." Did you see the looks on Kevin Stefanski's face? Because they said to him out, to a gunfight with a knife. That's ridiculous. Like, I mean, you didn't see Andrew Berry nowhere none this year. He didn't come out. You didn't see anything about him. No one came out. The GM's supposed to talk a couple times a year. Didn't say why he traded him, nothing. They just say Kevin Stefanski out there. And I'm telling you, all the way back in April was the beginning of the end of the relationship with Kevin Stefanski and the Browns. It's like the mafia movies, right? Where, you got the big bosses and they got the workers or whatever the case may be, and they the guys that go get all the goods and stuff, and they be setting them up to whack them. You know what I mean? They whack them. They set them up to go get all the business, to get rid of them, make it look like it was an accident. That's what that looked like. They set that man up for failure, right? So that was the beginning of the end right there. I said it then. There's no way that they're going to keep whatchamacallit. They were going to keep Kevin Stefanski. Andrew Berry and Kevin Stefanski, the line was clipped. I did a video on it. Literally can go back to the YouTube page, look at and D knows and look at the videos, and I did one called Enemies. Those guys are enemies. And, he was set up to fail. So that dysfunction brings you all the way to now. And Kevin Stefanski won't get fired, but you know that they're going to go their separate ways. So I'm setting it up to get to this point. You see Mike McDaniel in the thumbnail with a Cleveland Browns shirt on. It doesn't even look like Mike McDaniel. It looks kind of different, right? So that was the staff from 2014, I think. That was the Manziel staff. By the way, that's one of the greatest staffs of all time on the offensive side of the ball that the Cleveland Browns had. Just tell you how this place in Cleveland is cursed. It's cursed. They literally had everybody. I don't know if they had McVay. I'm not sure they had McVay. But they had Shanahan, they had Mike McDaniels, and they had a lot of these coordinators that were probably like scouts or passing game or whatever, like little coaches that was in that pipeline. They were all in Cleveland. That whole group was in Cleveland. And Cleveland got none of them. But who was on that staff was Mike McDaniel, a young Mike McDaniel, learning the game. And now we're coming full circle because, and I might as well just kind of like tie these stories together here to an extent. So now the Browns are going to be done with Kevin Stefanski after Sunday. They're going to have a mutual parting of ways. Kevin Stefanski will be on the market. He's going to probably be the leader for that Giants job or whatever job that comes up. He will be in the running for one of these jobs because the Cleveland situation has just been a situation. His hands is a part of it. His hands is dirty in that situation too. But it's just a mess in Cleveland. It is a true on circus. That's what it is. It's a circus. And, so he's out there. Well, according to reports, the Browns are interested in bringing Mike McDaniel back if he becomes free. They were interested in Mike McDaniel at one point, I think before they hired Kevin Stefanski, if I'm not mistaken. I just don't think that he was available or whatever it was, but they really liked him at the time. They liked him when he was there originally, and they felt like he had head coaching potential. We know what Mike McDaniel has been like in Miami. Pull up his pull up his resume. Let's see here. All right, let me bring you guys back in. Check this out. So, got the job in 2022 in Miami, and took over that team at that time. Miami wasn't doing much over there. Went 9-8 his first year. Uh, Went 11-6 in 2023. They started to put things together, and the last 2 years, 8-9 and 7-9 as of today. So he kind of slid off. He backed Tua. Now he did get Tua to play some good football at points of time. I don't know if the concussions caught up with Tua. You know, he got paid, he got fat and happy. I don't know what exactly happened with Tua, but his game fell off a cliff. Uh, this team was supposed to be. This team had Super Bowl aspirations. We're not gonna act like this team was not slated to be one of the top teams. It was supposed to be in that running with the Buffalo Bills. It was supposed to be in the AFC Championship game with all the talent that it has acquired, had acquired over that time because Mike McDaniel came in on fire. He came in on fire, started to put that Miami organization together, and we thought it was going to be off to the races for a while. But you know, the team hit a snag. Uh, they didn't live up to expectations when the big games came up. Those teams did not perform well. I remember every time I said Miami gonna finally take that turn, and they never performed when it was time. When it counted, they never performed. They could never win those big games. And like I said, you see this year, um, the GM that was tied at the hip with Mike McDaniel got fired, and Chris Greer. We'll come to that little situation in a second too. But now, you know, Mike McDaniel is a man without a plan at this point. He's a man without a plan. He's there. You know, he's doing the best he can. The Dolphins had rattled off some games before they 4 game win streak before they had got stopped in their presence by the Steelers. And you know, the season still has not been what it's been. And I think at this point now, when you look at the Dolphins roster, it's a rebuild there at this point. I mean, they starting to field offers for well, they didn't field them, but they're probably going to field them this offseason for Jalen Waddle. You know, Tyreek Hill has been an up and down situation on and off the field at Miami, so he won't be there next year. Um, Tua is probably going to be the highest paid bench player in the league besides Deshaun Watson. So everything is going to be anew there. You know, they're going to probably try to find a quarterback of the future or a Lamar Jackson if they can't beat the Pittsburgh Steelers Sunday. I think he's already frustrated. So we'll see if that relationship severs and he ends up going home to Miami because Miami will have the capital to give back. So, you know, that's the situation. That's the situation there. And, you know, do Miami clean slate? So I'm about to tie in. Um, I want to tie in Chris Greer now. Chris Greer was Mike McDaniel's running mate in Miami. And if the Browns so happen to let Andrew Berry go, or they elevate Andrew Berry up to a presidential role, Chris Greer is a candidate that they're thinking about bringing in. See how this story is starting to come full circle. So they're thinking about bringing him in as a GM if they move Andrew Berry up, because Andrew Berry is one of the right hand men of the Haslam family. They just lost Tommy from Martin, Paul DePodesta, to the Colorado Rockies. So maybe they slide Andrew into whatever that spot Paul DePodesta was in, and president of operations or whatever the case may be, and Chris Greer be the guy. Well, you bring Chris Greer in, and Mike McDaniel is pretty much out of Miami more than likely. The Cleveland job, in my opinion, is his to take. Because I also said this. I said this when draft time came around. I said Shador would have been the perfect fit down in Miami in that system that Mike Daniel runs. Perfect system for him. Learn so he can learn how to really play that quarterback position. Kevin Stefanski's system fit him perfect too. That McVay system, that Shanahan McVay type of tree, those systems was perfect for Shador. Now, if you could bring somebody in who could really develop the quarterback, get fresh eyes on him, on Shador, perfect situation. And that may end up being the situation. And the icing on the cake is this. This is us going into our next topic. Troy Aikman has been everywhere. And you guys see the live show that we did the other day. Troy Aikman talking about the development of quarterbacks and all these other things. Well, Troy Aikman has just now taken a position with the Miami Dolphins. So let's take a look at that. Let's see here. Let's see here. So as you guys see right here, Adam Schefter reported this earlier today. The Miami Dolphins has brought in Hall of Fame QB and ESPN analyst Troy Aikman as a consultant to advise the organization on its general manager search process per sources. It's not a permanent role, but he will be an advisor throughout the process of the Dolphins' next GM. So, with Troy Aikman coming in, and Troy Aikman just having that conversation about the development of QBs or whatever the case may be, Troy's probably looking at that situation, and I could be totally wrong, but he's looking at that situation with Mike McDaniel, still saying that Tua went backwards. Tua probably shouldn't have been paid the money he was paid. I was on that bus saying that he shouldn't have been paid. Not that type of money. Him and I think it was him and Trevor Lawrence at the time. Him, Trevor Lawrence, Jordan Love, all of them at that time when they all got those contracts. I said Tua and Trevor Lawrence, and right now I guess I got to kind of eat my words on Trevor Lawrence a little bit. Look like he's kind of having that coming of age moment, but I guess 1 out of 2 ain't bad. Tua does not look the part. Does Troy Aikman come in and say, hey, Mike McDaniel has ruined Tua or whatever, or he's regressed to that point. We bring that GM in. You need to clean house with Mike McDaniel. So do they go bring in somebody new? So this is how all these stories are tying in today. It's like 6 degrees of separation, if you want to call it that. Because he's going to look at that situation. And like I said, we just talked about Troy and how he was talking about the development of the QB. And what can we say about Tua Tagovailoa? He's regressed in his QB development after getting paid $50 million a year or $55 million a year, whatever it is that he got paid, some exorbitant amount of money. So he's probably going to tell the owner, we need to clean house completely. The GM, whoever the GM is that they bring in, he's probably going to want to bring in his own head coach. And I guarantee you that Troy Aikman is going to be a part of that saying, hey, GM, I wouldn't hitch my wagon to Mike McDaniel unless I really believe in him. When you have a chance to bring in your own head coach that you feel like you vibe with and that you guys can get on the same page with. So to say all of that is to say Black Monday is going to be interesting. It is going to be interesting because the Browns are probably, in my opinion, going to get their head coach based off of pretty much a firing or a parting of ways. I don't think both sides are going to have firings. I think both organizations are going to tell both head coaches that we're parting ways with the coaches. You may even see some type of crazy trades for these coaches. I don't know, but I know Kevin Stefanski will be gone Monday. This is his last game, unless you know some last minute stuff get done. But this will be his last game as the Cleveland Browns head coach. And in my opinion, if I had to put money on it, I'm betting that Mike McDaniel is the head coach of the Cleveland Browns. So that's where I'm at with that one. So appreciate you guys hanging in and hanging out with me over here on this Friday night. I wanted to come talk a little bit of football with you guys. And, give you guys my perspective on what is going on with the Browns and, why the Mike McDaniel thing mattered. Because this is all correlated. This whole thing is correlated together. And I think the Browns going to have their guy. And I think it would be a perfect fit with Shador. The type of offense they run, the window dressing, the motion, all of that other stuff, where Shador can learn how to develop. Because, like I said, I don't think Tua was that great of a quarterback, but I think Mike McDaniel had did as much as he could with Tua as far as development, and he got him paid. Now, I think once all the concussions and all that other stuff hit, maybe that was the thing that slowed him down. We don't know. But Tua definitely regressed in his game, and that was why, that's why, the Dolphins look the way they look, and Chris Greer was fired, and I think Mike McDaniel on his way out. So I'm putting my money on that situation that Mike McDaniel ends up in Cleveland. We'll see how it goes, but I think he'll be announced, in my opinion, by next week sometime, by the end of next week sometime. But we'll see. We'll definitely make sure we put it up in the post section and keep an eye out on all the off season stuff. And stick with me, guys. This off season stuff, we gonna be on top of all of it. We're gonna be on top of all of it. So there'll probably be like videos or whatever the case may be, videos or the live or whatever the case is. You'll be able to keep up with everything. Newsletters, stuff like that. So it's a lot of stuff coming up. But yeah, we definitely go keep an eye on that situation. So let's go into another situation. I think we talked briefly the other day about Tom Brady's influence on the Raiders organization. Well, now we're starting to get a little more information on that situation. So Let's pull it up. We got to talk about this one. And if you guys got any questions or anything like that, hey, come hang out in the chat. Don't be scared to see you guys popping in and popping out. Come on in here and drop a comment in here. You got any questions? Hey, any pushbacks, anything like that? Don't be afraid. This is a live show we building over here. We building this thing, brick by brick. So, you come in, but pop in and say hello. Ain't no big deal. We here. So, uh, but let's get into this. So this is on Bleacher Report's website, but this is via the Athletic. Now they say, per the Athletics' Michael Silver, Raiders controlling owner Mark Davis has treated Brady as the de facto boss when it comes to football matters since he's joined the organization. This is kind of what we talked about the other day a little bit, but it's more to the story now that we're getting. He said Silver went on to add that people in the organization who work under Davis, general manager John Spytek and head coach Pete Carroll, don't know the answer to exactly how much input Brady has had on decisions Vegas made last offseason. It said, what role, for example, did Brady play in the decision to make 73-year-old Pete Carroll the head coach? And a team that's clearly that's in need of a rebuild. Let's see. They said who spearheaded the ill-fated move to make Kelly the league's highest paid offensive coordinator? Trade a third-round pick to Seattle for Geno Smith, who got a 2-year, $75 million deal. Damn, Geno out here robbing people. Sheesh. They could have got Darnold with that. A younger guy. And they gave Geno Smith. All right. A lot of money. Now everybody's starting to ask, was these Brady's calls? Okay, so now they got Diana Rossini, who Johnny on the spot. She go always have a story. They said Diana Rossini reported last month that Brady isn't at Vegas facilities on a daily basis, but he has daily communications with people in the building. Silver reported last summer that Brady was opposed to the Raiders pursuing Sam Darnold in free agency. He also gave a major sign-off for them to acquire Geno Smith in the trade. Oh, boy. Ain't looking good so far. Everything the Raiders did last offseason from the on-field standpoint blew up in their face. Smith has been a huge disappointment, leading the NFL with 17 interceptions. Well, one, he ain't got much to throw to. He ain't got nobody to protect him either. So that's interesting in itself. Then, of course, they signed Chip Kelly. He was the highest paid coordinator. Wow. Okay. We'll let that story live. That's pretty much just a summary of what's going on. But man, see, this right here, and I want people to understand this situation. This goes all the way down to basketball, any sport. Love Michael Jordan to death. As a basketball player, the way he goes about his business, dude is amazing, right? Kobe Bean, one of the greatest basketball players of all time. Kobe said something very interesting when Kobe was here. Kobe said that they asked Kobe, matter of fact, in 2016 or 17. I don't know if you guys are aware of this. We're jumping into a little bit of basketball just to bring this thing full circle. So in 2017, 16 or 17, Jeannie Buss and the family, whoever was over there, I think it was Mitch Kupchak at the time or whoever, they asked Kobe as a consultant at that time, just from the house, after he had retired, we need to make the Lakers, bring them back to prominence. You not here anymore. Who should we draft? Now, this was the Jason Tatum draft, whatever the case may have been. Lonzo Ball and all those guys. Kobe said, you need to draft Jason Tatum. You need him. He can play inside and out. He's going to do nothing but get better and better. They said, no, we don't want to do that. We want to draft Lonzo Ball because Lonzo Ball is from California. He's like the next Magic Johnson. He could be the next Magic. We're grooming him to be the next Magic on the Lakers. This is the new age Lakers, whatever the case may have been. So they went against what Kobe said. We see the trajectories of their career. And Kobe said one thing after that. He said, I would never be a GM for you guys because you guys, or whatever, big part of the organization because you guys didn't listen to me. And I just don't want to do that job. But what am I saying when I say all of this? It's totally different from being one of the greatest players of all time. The Tom Brady, the Michael Jordans, you heard Kobe Bryant talk about it. It's very few greats that can go step into that head coaching position. They asked Kobe about that. Kobe said, hell no, I wouldn't coach basketball because I'd be ready to hurt somebody when they don't do the play right. All of that stuff takes patience. The GMs, all of that stuff takes patience. Tom Brady, a guy who's uh, he's doing analyst work right now. He's basically just left the league the last 2 years, went right into analytic work, and now he's the owner of the Raiders. Now you're running day-to-day operations. How are you running day-to-day operations? Tom, you know more than anybody. When you commit yourself to something, you have to be all in on it. You have to be all in. Tom Brady couldn't play quarterback and then try to be a pitcher on the side. That's just not possible. You have to fully dedicate to that. Tom Brady has not dedicated to this position, nor from the outside, it's easy to say, well, we should get this guy or get that guy. But to really do the due diligence on hiring and firing staff, synergy, do these guys go together? Do this offensive coordinator work good with a head coach? All these things. So you're telling me Pete Carroll didn't even get to hire his own staff. If this is true, Tom Brady pushed Chip Kelly on Pete Carroll. Chip Kelly went good in the first place in the league the first time. So he was okay at Ohio State when he went back. He was okay at UCLA when he was the head coach there. All of those things. Then you gave up a third round pick for Geno Smith and paid him. When you had a younger Sam Darnold who could have probably got the same deal. At least you would have had a young guy to build on. Okay, maybe you swung and missed on that. You felt like Sam Darnold wasn't that guy. That's fine. That's understandable. But everything you've done, you're missing on. Let me jump into these comments. Let me see what we got here. Sorry about that. I'm going on. The Boxing Menu podcast. Salute to you, man. Salute. I'm from Cleveland. That new stadium they building in Brook Park is going to be nice. I heard. It. Listen, that place is going to be state of the art. You know what they're doing in the NFL now at this point is they are those stadiums are becoming their own communities at this point. They're their own communities at this point. Like they're literally building the stadium. They building shopping shopping structures. They're gonna have apartments. It's gonna be like a livable space around the stadium. So that place is gonna be amazing. And out there, I'm familiar with Cleveland, so I know what's going on in Cleveland a lot of the time. And you know, out there in that area that they're building it's nothing but space. So they're going to end up building a whole new community. The Browns are going to make money hand over fist out there. So that stadium is going to be amazing. Salute to you. Let's see what else. You say we might get a Super Bowl soon, or at least close to one in years to come. I believe just like the Cavs. Listen, I mean, here's the thing. Number one, if they can hit on Shador, right? You already got him here. The reason why I say this is the I compare this to the 49ers situation, right? It's a tad bit different, but stick with me when I say this. So when the 49ers got that, what was that, the number one pick? Number one, number two pick for Trey Lance. They gave up a lot for him, right? Plus you had his contract. Trey Lance, of course, didn't pan out, wasn't ready. But they drafted Purdy in the 7th round. Purdy is their guy now. So, yeah, they missed on that pick. The same thing with Deshaun Watson. They had Deshaun Watson. They traded all those picks for him. That put them behind the 8 ball on money and the way the cap is structured. They kicked the can down the road for a few years. Now it's coming to bite them. So, now that the Browns are like maybe what 5th or 6th pick or something like that, where they're slotted at right now, if they don't have to go into this draft giving up more assets to move up to try to get a Fernando Mendoza or a Dante Moore or one of these guys, and Shador can actually develop. He can actually develop. Well, then you can maybe trade down and add more talent around that team, and you don't have to worry about going to get a quarterback because you got your version of a Brock Purdy. See what I'm saying? So that's a situation in itself. I appreciate the comments, man. Yeah, like if they can like I said, the Browns could be really in a good situation. You know, Shador is polarizing. As his game matures and as he matures as a leader, really in that leadership role of being that quarterback, and if he could get them to the playoffs in the next couple of years and the Browns could be, you know, a real threat in that AFC North, they're going to build him a statue outside. What you say, smash that like button. Hey, man, I appreciate it, man. I appreciate it. You heard what the man said. He said smash the like button. It helps. It helps. Like I said, guys, we growing this channel. We're a small channel, independent channel. We're building this thing, you know, brick by brick, you know. And I'm going to subscribe to you. What is that? Boxing Menu Podcast. Yeah, we big boxing fans over here, man. We are huge boxing fans. So we know the boxing. We know the boxing. We do the boxing over here. We don't talk about it on the channel, of course, but this is a football channel. But yeah, big boxing fans, man. But yeah, I mean, they're in a situation where if they could get, you know, your 5th round quarterback that you don't have to pay, for the next 4 or 5 years, you got him on the cheap, and you can put everything around Shador, and he can develop because there's some things that he has to do. Now he's got to process the game faster. throwing those balls out in the flat. He got to put some more zip on the ball. Every ball can't be cute because he throws a beautiful ball, but every ball can't be cute. It has to be, you got to play with a little bit more urgency. But I think he's starting to learn that. It's gonna take a little bit of time, but he's gonna get it. He'll get it. He'll get it. It's just gonna take a little bit of time. Oh man, you loaded me up on the comments. Hey man, I take them. I appreciate them. You say you see that Miami Ohio State game? Yeah, we talked about it. Well, we ain't talked about it a lot, but we talked about it for a second. Uh, Jump over here real quick to this. They was set up, and this is the thing about college football that I'm not feeling right now. Is this is the price of being great? Ohio State, Alabama's, whatever power schools that really make noise, right? That means that your coaching tree is great, and people are going to pluck off of your coaching tree. Brian Hartline had been running that offense to perfection. He was running an NFL style offense where he was ground and pounding teams out, right? Congratulations to Brian Hartline, who deserves everything he gets. He will be an NFL coach. He he's gonna do well in college. Then he's gonna take a Power Five school. He gonna do well with them, and he will be an NFL coach. That's how good of a person that Brian Hartline is. He was a good receiver in the NFL, a technician, and it does not surprise me that he's getting what he's getting. Um, but when you take him out, he can't coach the Ohio State game, right? So now you're going back to Ryan Day, who has stopped calling plays for the last couple of years between Brian Hartline and Chip Kelly. He finally went back to the CEO seat. So now he's thrust into the seat of having to be the play caller. Cadence change, terminology might be the same, but at the same time, it's still coming out different to the quarterback, all of those things. Then you get Ohio State team that lose 2 games straight. They got the layoff, all of those things. And I just think when it comes to college football, when you have a great program and you have all those things going on, whether you, like I said, you're at Ohio State or the Alabamas or wherever the case may be, and you have all these things going on, and all of a sudden your coach get plucked. Well, you kind of like it out of luck. You know what I mean? Because now things have to change. And if you look at that Miami game, with Miami being as dominant of a defensive team as they've been this year, with Ruben Bain and all those guys over there, right? Great defensive team. This was set up to be a disaster from the jump. Ohio State came out slow. Miami was all over them. If Carson Beck could have turned it up some more in that first half, they would have blew Ohio State out. Ohio State's defense kept them in that game, and ultimately they just couldn't get out the way. They just couldn't. They just couldn't catch Miami. I think they kind of ran out of gas. I just think it was the perfect storm to lose, and that's pretty much what happened. I think that's what pretty much happened. Yeah. Happy New Year to everybody in here too. You say it's by the airport. Yeah, yeah. Say at least we beat Pittsburgh. Listen, they listen. Well, Pittsburgh beat themselves too, but yeah, they beat Pittsburgh. It was a good win for them. You say they should have started Shador from the beginning. Listen, I'm gonna say this about the whole thing. You can't trust a Browns organization that can't trust themselves. So hear me when I say this part. They didn't even have plans on picking Shador. I don't know if you was here when when the live first started. They didn't even have plans on even picking Shador. He just so happened to be there. I'm not saying Dylan Gabriel was the guy because I was not sold on Dylan Gabriel being that high. But if you were to draft that guy, you should have had a plan in place. The Browns went into that season with no plan. That's just it. They run around with a chicken with their head cut off. So when I hear you say George should have been a starter, potentially. Now it was some things that he needed to learn. There's some things that I can tell, and that Kevin Stefanski has kind of taught him. You see, he ain't drifting in that pocket as much. He's stepping up and running forward. It's a lot of things that he's learned. So we cannot dismiss that he's learned some things on how to be a professional quarterback, because you can see him showing up in these last few games versus when he was at Colorado and he could, whip around and run around and lose 20, 25 yards. So he's grown. Like I said, and that's a credit to Shador, that he's able to take the leadership and practice and get those reps to be, to get the mental part of the game together. That I think he's slowly starting to get together. It's just going to take some time. It's going to take some time. But like I said, at the same time, the Cleveland Browns are the Cleveland Browns. They're the Browns, man. They make a whole bunch of goofy decisions on the regular. This is why they can't develop a quarterback or whatever the case may be. And that's why I say, if they get this move right, bring out Mike McDaniel in, he may not be your Super Bowl head coach. But if he could just get them on the right track, then you might have something. But see, here's the thing too. If you lose Kevin Stefanski, do you lose well, I can't think his name right now. My man. Here we go. One second here. Jim Schwartz. I'm sorry. I had a brain freeze there. Do you lose Jim Schwartz? If you lose Kevin Stefanski, do you lose Jim Schwartz? Let's just say you do bring a Mike McDaniel in or whoever in. Are they bringing in their own people, or are they satisfied with Jim Schwartz? So you might get the offensive productivity may go up, but the defense might take a step back. So the Browns got to hit on this thing here. Hey, no problem, man. I appreciate you coming over here, man. I do. Like I said, we can run this brick by brick here. People saying sports betting is rigged. Do you think so? Holy smokes. Man, I'm going to say this. This is how I'm going to say it. Because you never know. I might have to work with these guys. And I'm going to say this. I hope not. But I'm going to say it was some questionable things we saw over the last few weeks that could make you question some things. I'm going to say this. With all of the stuff that's going on around the NFL, because believe it or not, the NFL has not been pulled in the mud of all this stuff that's been on with the NBA and all this other stuff. So they better get their affairs in order, because a lot of things look a little suspicious. That's all I'm going to say. Better get it together. That's the best thing I can say about that one. I'm telling you, it didn't look good. Best way I'm gonna put that one. It didn't look good. So, I hope for their sake that they don't let this be a thing, because they're gonna lose a lot of people. They'll lose a lot of people. And they're gonna lose a lot of money. And the one thing you know about the NFL and Roger Goodell, they don't like losing money at all. They always look at where they could squeeze blood out of a rock. So they got to make sure that all this is nipped in the bud and that none of that stuff is going on. So that's the best way I can put it, if you get what I'm saying. So, But yeah, I think when we get back to what I was saying here, they was talking about Tom Brady, and I'm gonna wrap that part up real quick. So you got a situation with Tom Brady in a nutshell where it's easy. Let me not say it's easy because you one of the goats, quarterbacks, whatever the case may be. Don't mean that transition into being a owner, having full autonomy over rosters and head coaches and things of that nature. That don't make you that guy because you were able to do it at this level as a quarterback or whatever position. You have to dive deep into that. And now you're the CEO, the ownership. That means that the ship goes down with you. That means you are putting people in places to be, to grow this Las Vegas Raiders team. That has not been good. Like this ain't like he's coming into a ready-made project here, where the team is already rolling. You had your head coach in place, you had your GM in place, and you already got a steady ship. The Raiders situation is like the Browns situation. Now the Raiders do got the number one pick. Okay, Fernando Mendoza keep playing like he's playing and shredding up defenses, and he continues to show his value if you believe that he is that guy or not. Okay, cool. Easy pick at the number one pick. You get your guy. Now, how do you build a team around him? Then, if Pete Carroll is not your guy, who are you bringing in as a head coach? Are you looking at a Mike McDaniel? Or are you looking at a Brian Flores? Are you looking at anybody in college? I know Freeman said he's staying at Notre Dame. Can you pull him out? Do you think he's ready to be an NFL coach? These are the questions that you have to ask when you become de facto owner. And I think Tom Brady has to really sit in that seat. He's an analyst. He's getting paid almost $40 million a year. You're doing that job. You got all this other stuff going on. You got TV commercials and all this other stuff. You don't really see de facto owners or presidents or anything like that doing all of that and trying to construct the NFL roster. That's almost impossible to do. So Tom is going to have to figure out what you go do. You know, you can't serve two masters in that situation. So if he really wants them to win and really be the Raiders that they need to be, at some point he's going to have to make a choice, or he's going to have to get some type of president or GM or whoever he aligns with that he can consult in the situations, or maybe give somewhat a final say in the situations. But trying to do all of this is why he's missing on everything. Geno Smith, older, he's getting beat up. That's what I'm saying. You can't go get a guy that's 35 years old. Geno is almost in the vein of Sam Darnold, or at least what we thought Sam Darnold was. You bring him in. Geno's a guy that needs all the weapons around him, and that's okay. He's never been a guy that just elevates people's play like that. So you put the weapons around him. You had Jacoby Myers, you traded him. Okay, that's fine. Like, they didn't have much going on. You got Brock Bowers, of course. Chip Kelly was messing with Ashton Genty's stance, so he was looking like a dud coming out the gate. Now that he went back to Boise State, Ashton Genty, now you're starting to see the payoff of that. So you can't Frankenstein this thing. All of this has to have synergy in order for all of this to work. You know what I mean? Like, it has to have synergy. And Tom, if you go do this, you got to really get in there. Who am I talking to? I'm talking to the greatest of all time. But with Elway went into that position, another Hall of Fame, one of the greatest of all time at that quarterback position. Once he took that job on to be the president and the GM of the Denver Broncos, you don't see Elway on TV and all that other stuff. Elway is committed to the Broncos organization. He moves like a regular president GM. And we've seen what he's done with those teams. Super Bowls. They've been competitive the last however many years. They've always been competitive, but they've really been competitive the last 10 or 15 years since Elway's been GM, president, whatever Elway's been. So, Tom's got to think about that. So that's a big deal. That's a big deal for real. Let's see. I think I got a couple more things to touch on, and I think we'll be on up out of here. I think we about getting to that point. Um, 1 second here. I think we get Lamar. Lamar Jackson is back. That's another little news tip. Lamar Jackson will play Sunday night against the Pittsburgh Steelers. This is going to be interesting. Uh, TJ Watt is also back. I don't know if he's going to be on much of a snap count. They're probably going to let him do as much as he can. I mean, he is coming off a collapsed lung. So, yeah, we're getting ready. Let's look at this schedule real quick. Actually, let's see what this schedule looks like. Week 18, man. It seemed like the season just started. And this has been a weird year. This has been a strange year. Let me okay, let's do it like this. Okay, let's 1 second here. I'm still okay. Here we go. Oh, okay, we up. Okay. So we got do or die games. These are a lot of games that's got implications to them. Panthers, Buccaneers. These guys are playing for a playoff spot essentially. Both teams had a chance to put each other out of their miseries, and they didn't. So at this point now, they got to play each other. Interesting. Baker has been a shell of himself since he got hurt. I mean, he is beat up all over the place, and that matchup is gonna be an interesting matchup. Bryce Young, is he the guy? Because by next year, you got to think: are you ready to pay him? And he's been up and down. 1 minute he has a terrible game, the next minute he has a amazing game, and he looks like he's worth every pick. Worth the number 1 pick. So he's been up and down. So that game is at 4:30. So that's gonna be a good one. Uh, Coach Texas don't really have no bearing. Oh, 8 o'clock. We got Seattle and the 49ers. They're playing, I think, for the NFC West, if I'm not mistaken. They playing for the NFC West and what's that? The I think that's the first seed for the NFC. So we got that game. Um, who else is playing for something? Of course, the Steelers, Ravens. They're playing for something. Uh, let's see who else. Somebody else is playing for spots. Lions is out. Crazy to see the Chiefs not in the playoffs. That's nuts in itself. Uh, I think them might be the only games that's really playing for a certain space. I think the Chargers Broncos game got uh, some seeding implications. So we got some good games for Week 18. We do, and then we gonna be on to the wild card round, man. This is moved fast. This is moved fast. So you know, you say you think the Browns might win that Bengals game. Listen, Joe Burrow off. I'm gonna say this: Miles gonna get his record. He'll get the record. He can completely wreck that game in the Browns because the Browns just got the Bengals number and Joe Burrow's number for whatever reason. The last few years, whether the Bengals are in the playoffs or they struggling, they got their number. But I think Joe Burrow is out to prove a point. And if it's any team that can match up with that Browns defense, man for man, it's that Cincinnati offense. So you say if we win or not, it still won't matter. You know what though? You know what though? At this point now, I'm gonna ask you: would you want to win that game, carry the good juju, the good vibes over into 2026 season, or not saying your team ain't gonna play hard, but would you rather them lose that game, have a better pick for the team going forward? That's my question to you, the boxing menu. That's my question to you. And I appreciate you guys coming to hang out with me, man. We listen. This is our thing. Live shows. I transitioned over to live shows. Uh, how long have I been doing live shows now? It's been maybe 2 weeks or so, something like that. This has been in the making. I've been sitting here with a soundboard for about 2 years. I've literally been trying to put a live show together for a long time. So I'm glad that we finally in this space. I get to interact with you guys. You guys, uh, a big integral part of what we're doing over here. Like you'll be able to phone in at some point here soon. You're gonna have contests between the community. We're gonna have regular contests. We're gonna have a whole bunch of stuff going on. So we're building. So just be patient. Um, we're gonna have fun with this. Like I said, I appreciate you guys coming over here. You first, however many guys in the chat or that's been in the chat, that's been over here, lurking and watching the videos. Remember, you guys are the one that are helping this channel grow. So, like, subscribe, share. I really appreciate it. And, I appreciate you guys. I know who you are. You say have a better pick, see? Where would that put the Browns? Let me see where the Browns are sliding right now. Let's see. If let's see. So the Browns are like in the number 6 spot right now. They're in the number 6 spot right now. I think they got a possibility to go down to like 4. I think so. You got 2 picks in the first round. You got Jacksonville's pick now. Jacksonville's pick didn't look like it looked. Well, at least you thought it would look. You probably thought she was probably being in the top 15. with Jacksonville's pick, but Jacksonville has balled out, so it's going to probably be about the 25th, 26th pick. But got two picks in the first round. And that team is going to need a lot. The Browns team is going to need a lot. So, excuse me. You're probably going to see a lot of maneuvering to fill out that roster. That Browns roster is going to have so many first and second year people on that roster just to fill out the roster. Then they cap strap for like what, at least one more year. So it'll be an interesting bunch. We'll see what happens with them. But yeah, I like I said, I really appreciate you guys coming to hang out. Uh, we get better at this thing every day that we do it. I will be here for Black Monday. Now, uh, you guys can leave it after this live or in the comments. Anybody who come that's lurking and watching the video or whatever the case may be, leave it in the comments. Do you guys want an early live for that Black Monday? Because people are going to be getting fired. Or do you want it at the normal time? And we can talk about it at that time. You know, maybe I'll drop some breaking news videos in between there. I don't know. But we'll definitely be on Monday. So make sure you guys are checking like the community posts and stuff like that. I'll start adding things to the community post so you guys can keep up with what's going on. But this is my usual time for the new people that come in between 7 o'clock and 7:20. I'm trying to lock in about 7:05 more than likely. But 7:20 at the latest, I'll be here. So between those times, but we pretty much locked into that 7:05-ish time. So it's going to get interesting. We'll have a lot to talk about because the off season for real, it really starts Monday, even though the playoffs haven't even started yet. But it's going to be a lot of what's the word I'm looking for? It's going to be a lot of movement, a lot of pieces moving on the board. Offensive coordinators, defensive coordinators, they're going to be moving on the head coaching jobs. People are going to get fired. So your favorite teams is going to be in certain spaces. Then we had the report of, got to throw this one in, or did I say this one a couple days ago? But Adam Schefter basically came out and said between the Steelers and the Ravens, whatever coach lose may end up packing their bags. So that may be a situation in itself. We don't even know, because John Harbaugh has been in Baltimore for almost 20 years at this point, and that that situation may be a situation where it ain't got stale. Know the situation in Pittsburgh, it's got stale. So you got a Ravens team that has not lived up to expectations this year, so they get put out, especially with all the Lamar drama. They may go for a reset. And then you got the Pittsburgh Steelers, who've had the division twice. They've been on the fence of mediocrity for the last 5 to 6 years at this point. Is enough in Pittsburgh. So a lot of these games got implications. You say it's just sometimes YouTube don't be sending notifications. Okay, it is. What I'm going to do, because I know YouTube is goofy. This is why. This is why I try to come on at least 4 times a week. I don't really come on the weekends much, but I may come on for the wild card games before whatever the case may be. And YouTube got a lot of people on there, right? So I got to do my job on the other end of that. to make sure you guys know that I'm on. Uh, Listen, I know you know about YouTube. My channel was doing whatever it was doing. I ain't getting into all of that. I don't even do all that. But this day platform, right? So I think in the bio, all the socials are there. Okay. So now that I'm doing this and like you just sent that message, the socials are in there, and I'm going to put a another link in there. And if you guys subscribe to like whatever the little email or whatever it is, you'll just know that it comes on. Also, you can subscribe on Twitch. I don't know if you guys are Purple fans. Let me not say that word loud because I know YouTube kind of weird. But on Purple or whatever, you'll get those notifications. So if you follow over there too, and that's a platform of choice outside of YouTube, you'll get notifications over there. So it's really about just getting notifications. And what I'll do is I'll make sure that community posts go up that day. So you guys will know, hey, this is the day D is coming on. We gonna be on at this time. So you guys can kind of get a gist of it. So you guys check the community posts, follow me on the socials or whatever the case may be. And I'll make sure that I put up stuff. But more than likely, we shooting for 5 days a week. If it's not 5 days a week, it's 4 days a week, and it's gonna be around that 7 o'clock time. So I know YouTube with the notifications is tough. Only thing I can tell you is turn your notifications off and then turn them back on, or turn them on all, and we could do it that way. So, but there's some other things coming, so you guys will be able to make sure what we have planned. You guys won't miss nothing we're doing. So all of that is getting set up right now as we speak. So just stay patient. It's coming. But again, we've been about an hour 40 here. So we gonna go ahead and wrap this up on this Friday evening. I appreciate you, Boxing Menu. Uh, appreciate everybody that's been in the chat, lurking, checking in on the show. Hey, don't be afraid to come in, leave your messages. I answer the messages. Uh, like I said, you guys are a big part of what we do. This show don't run without you guys. So, and this is like I say it all the time for the people who haven't heard this, but this is almost like a sort of like a dream job for me. Salute to you, man. Appreciate you coming through, man. I really do. And everybody else, listen, this is like a dream job for me. This was something that I wanted to get into, but I didn't want to get into all the corporatized parts of being a part of like radio, whatever the case may be. So when this was introduced, I was always trying to figure these things out. And I had some people behind the scenes that kind of helped me out to figure out how to do this whole thing and to take calls at some point and all this other stuff. So once this thing was figured out, it was time to go live. And I appreciate you guys for being here. This is a part. You guys are a part of what I kind of dreamed of doing. You know what I mean? I was trying to find my foot in that space, and finally starting to really do that. And you guys are coming along for the ride, and I really appreciate that. I really do. Uh, I just tell people, like I'm doing now. I come from what I come from, and you know, we went dreaming certain ways, and now that we get to dream and do what we want to in life, that's in a positive way. You can do that too. You can do that too. All it takes is some patience. Like I said, I'm patient with what we have going on over here. And I'm going to keep continuing to show up. You guys show up with me. I appreciate that. But salute to the chat. Appreciate you guys stopping by. And I may post some videos tomorrow. I don't know if something crazy goes on. I might do like some type of impromptu live or something like that. But more than likely, it'll just be Monday because it's Black Monday. So everybody's getting fired and getting hired and all this other stuff. A lot of league business is going to be Monday. So we'll see how that goes. But till we meet again, people, appreciate you guys. More than likely, I'll see you Monday. So, peace to the chat. Everybody have a great weekend. We got a lot of football. These games got a lot of meaning to them. So we'll see what it looks like. But let's do it again. So to the next one. Peace.